I've been the House of Representatives or the Maine Senate. Started in the House back in 1986, when I was just a young pup, and a little older now. But I run a dairy farm in Leeds. Our farm has been judged in the past to be one of the top dairy farms in the whole United States, and we're very proud of that. My schedule lately is, I'm up at 5 and farm till around 2, and then go door to door till 7, and then eat some supper and go to bed, and in the middle of the night feeding the cows around 12:30, and I'm up at 5 and start the next day. I serve as chair of the Agricultural Conservation Forestry Committee, also serve on the Criminal Justice Committee. The Criminal Justice Committee, of course, has been working hard for 3 years now with jail consolidation. We've saved over $7 million so far in that jail consolidation. I know it's going to save more money in the future. To me, when I look at and think about what's the most important issue facing higher education in the state of Maine, I believe it's funding. And I believe that funding is related to our Maine economy. And Maine, like the rest of the country, is in a recession/depression. But what, to me, regrettably, makes it much, much worse than that is the continuing misinformation put out about this state by the minority party in order to try to help their re-election effort. We've heard for years and years that Maine was #1 tax state in the country, and we all now know that that was never true, and that we're 15th in the country. I've heard lately that Maine was still #1 and #8 in the cost of workers' comp. And the truth is that we're now 29th in our cost of workers' comp. I've heard 6 weeks ago that we were the #1 welfare state in the country. Again, misinformation. This particular ranking said that if you were an elderly and receiving LIHEAP oil assistance, you were on welfare. No other state has that. Energy assistance, helping those stay in nursing homes. No other state counts that as welfare, and yet certain groups in this state would like to lump that in and give them misconception that we're the #1 state by counting things that no other state does. Also about paying our hospitals. Our budgets the last few years have been unanimously adopted by everyone in the Appropriations Committee, Republicans and Democrats. There's been one plan for paying hospitals, not 2.
Good evening. I'm Senator Marvin from Lewiston, and I want to thank Lewiston-Auburn College for hosting us here tonight, and it's for all of you to come and be here. I lived in Lewiston for 40 years. I've served in the House of Representatives for 6 years and have spent the last 2 years in the Senate. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 children, grown obviously, and have been married for 43 years. And I am the proud graduate of Lewiston-Auburn College. And I graduated in the very first class that this campus graduated. So that is about me. Problems that the state face, I think, obviously, are financial. It's the biggest problem that we face, that we have been facing, but I don't think that we've seen anything yet, really, because our students' money has been spent, and we still have not recovered. And I've been serving on appropriations for the past 6 years, doing my very best to make sure that although we have cut education, that we fund it to the best of our ability, and also to make sure that our most vulnerable populations have the safety net so that they can count on having living situations, paying our nursing homes, paying for lighting, and paying for other services, for example, for people who have mental health needs, internation, and for others who are just vulnerable and need to afford a home, modest as it was, and have a safe place to raise my children. And I work very hard in an effort that my kids and their children have the same opportunities. As far as higher education goes, we've been cutting higher education for the past 8 years in an effort to reach the 55%. That was mandated for our K through 12, which we have never achieved. And I think that it's short-sighted to have gutted our higher education to the degree that we have, because they're now in a very painful process. They're restructuring and worried about higher tuition. I have to stop now. Thank you.
Good evening. How is everyone tonight?
Great.
My name is Joel Case, and I am running for Senate from the 16th District, which is here in Lewiston. This is an unusual district for the state, as it is the only district in the state that encompasses one entire city. I'm an emergency department physician. I practiced family medicine here in the Lewiston-Auburn area for many years, delivered a lot of babies in town, and made a decision a few years ago that I was going to change my life because I felt that I could do more for a lot of people by entering politics. And I left my practice. I no longer have a pager or to call or deliver babies in the middle of the night, but I work as an emergency physician, which gives me the flexibility to be able to sit here tonight with you. In addition to being a physician, I went back to school a few years ago. While working in a full-time practice, I commuted to Boston twice a week in order to pursue a master's degree in public health because of my passion for serving the public, and I did a focus in policy to prepare me for this race. I'm also involved, I've been involved in organized medicine for many years, which kind of means the politics of medicine at the state and national level. I'm currently serving as the president of the Maine Osteopathic Association. I also serve on several bureaus of the American Osteopathic Association at the national level, which means making policy, essentially. I'm a graduate of a state university system from New York City originally, and I'm a graduate of the State University of New York College at Old Westbury. I also have enrolled in community college. So I believe I have a real understanding of the needs of many of the students who are sitting in the room. I also have worked here in Maine as Director of Medical Education for the residency programs at the medical school in Biddeford. I'm running simply because we need to do better with creating jobs and expanding the economy here in Maine. And that clearly is connected to education. We need to prepare our students for the future workforce. In terms of quick plans, I would talk about partnerships. Partnerships between four-year and community colleges, partnerships between business and education sectors, such as what's going on at BIW and the Maine Maritime Academy, as well as partnerships between high schools and colleges, such as what's going on in Knox County, the Many Flags program. I believe I have an understanding of the needs of education in the state, and I ask for your vote. Thank you. Debbie.
Hi, I'm Dick Wagner. I currently represent a swath of Lewiston, so from bridge to bridge, and then House of Addison, Webster Streets. It's a wonderful cross-section of the city. I've been in Lewiston for 40 years, a retired educator. I could have gone down to live in Portland where two of my daughters are. Could have gone back to my beloved Baltimore. Could have gone out to Michigan. Not a chance. Lewiston is my home, and that's one of the reasons why I'm pleased to be able to serve in the legislature. The changes in Lewiston over the last at least 4 years have been just phenomenal and very exciting, exhilarating in all respects. So to be able to do that. I also want you to know that I have been in this room right here a long time. I think it was probably 30 years ago that my son played tennis right in here before this became LA College. I'm on the community advisory board for LA College. I know a fair number of your faculty who I admire greatly. I've taught with several of them, as a matter of fact, in the past. I'm on the education committee and in the legislature, and that has been an education for me. There are huge challenges, you all know that, facing us, and that's why, one of the reasons why I decided to go back again, to run again for the legislature, because I have learned finally a lot about education beyond just the college level. And it's time, it's time for me to help us to figure out how to maintain high-quality education in Maine in the face of the budgetary constraints that we have. We've got to maintain a high quality, otherwise we're not going to be able to develop a workforce to develop our economy. Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Mike McClellan, and I'm a candidate for House Seat 103, which encompasses mostly Cumberland County, Raymond, a piece of Standish, Fry Island, and then a piece of Poland, which is how I got invited here tonight, with the Poland piece. I'm a consultant. I have a kind of a varied background. I worked in healthcare for many years, worked in education, and more recently I worked in the Chamber of Commerce world. I ran a Chamber of Commerce in Bridgeton. Part of my consulting now is I work with the Maine State Chamber of Commerce, so I have a lot of interests in business and their fare. My wife is Michelle, and she is a principal of the Walton School in Auburn, so she's very familiar with this area. My daughter and son are Maggie and Pat, and for discussions tonight, they're a great help to me because my daughter is out of college for 3 years. My son just got out of college last year, and if I get the chance, I'll be able to share some of the things that they've experienced in their career. Maggie and Pat attended the Poland High School, and they were actually in the first classes. If you remember, Poland didn't have a place to send their kids. The state had to help them build a school. And so my son was in the first 6-year class, my daughter was in the first 4-year class. And they were very, very well prepared. The learnings they got in Poland and the different model that was used there at the time served them well when they got to college in terms of how they studied and things like that. I'm running for a few reasons. One is, and it's actually the seat I'm running for is an open seat. My opponent's not here tonight, but we're both kind of novice in this. John Robinson's been the person in the seat for 3 terms. He had some life changes, and actually he's leaving our district, so he couldn't run for his last try at this time. I'm Republican, and I'm proud of that, and I think it's time to try Republican ideas. We heard some stats a few minutes ago about the business climate. People I talk with don't necessarily agree with the views you heard. In any case, I don't want to strive to be 15th from worst or to add 25 cents to a paycheck. I think if we try some Republican ideas, which we haven't done in a long time, just maybe we can do some different things. So I am concerned as a citizen for the path we're on, both in the state of Maine and in the USA. And again, part of what I'd be concerned with is just so many barriers to small business in this state that I see that really, shut growth and creativity down. In terms of the discussion tonight, my big concern is debt for college. It's expensive to go to college. My daughter graduated 3 or 4 years ago. Her loans are at 3%. My son graduated most recently since the government took over the loan system, and his interest rate is like 8.5%, and he literally can't get a job that he can pay the bill. He was a substance abuse counselor in Massachusetts and had to quit because he didn't make enough money to pay his loans every month. So that's a real barrier to me. I think we need less regulation, and I guess again.